think we learned a lot of important lessons. The biggest one being, you don't know. You can't plan. The best thing you can plan for is change and continuing to grow, because like the minute you stop and you think you've got it figured out, it's just going to smack you in the face again and you have to grow more.
That's life.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their fascinating stories. We strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy approach to non-monogamy. However, it's important to remember that everyone does it a little bit differently, and the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we produce this show for entertainment purposes only. Please be aware that we aren't doctors or therapists. Consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Well, welcome to episode 264. We're Finn and Emma, and today we have an update episode for you all with Mel, Rah, and Tom. This throuple was on episode 145 for the first time. And now they're back with all of the exciting updates. I'm so excited about this.
Yeah, nothing has changed.
Not at all.
Actually, I was describing this internally in my brain as the relationship turducken.
Oh, do explain.
A turducken is a turkey stuffed with a chicken stuffed with a duck.
Uh-huh.
I believe that's the proper order. I guess unless you had a really big duck. You could go turkey, duck, chicken, or turkey, chicken, duck.
Okay.
The whole point.
Okay.
So the reason is, there's a throuple, there's a baby.
There's a baby in the mix now.
There's a sort of a quad.
There's sort of a quad.
There's sort of another throuple.
Yep.
And there's also like a 6-person plus polycule.
Yes. So Mel, Rah, and Tom have introduced other partners now and a baby into their mix. And they tell us about all of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And there's a really, I mean, the whole conversation is really just about.
I didn't mean to downplay your turducken, by the way.
No, it's okay. Most people are still laughing, obviously.
I feel like I just kind of glossed over that and didn't mean to.
My feelings are not hurt at all.
Anyway, what were you going to say?
No idea, Emma. My feelings are too hurt to even think right now. No, it's a really great conversation about taking a dynamic and expanding it, whether that's 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, and expanding it out, and what work goes into doing that when it's not just, 2 people are having a conversation, but 3 people, and in various dynamics of that. And then you introduce a 4th, and now those people have to have a conversation when the 5th person and the 6th person, and then a baby. And so it's just
complicated.
It's a little complicated, as Avril Lavigne says. And so it's an amazing conversation, and we're super thrilled, and we're super grateful that these 3 came back on to share everything with us, and a ton of gratitude to their partners for, playing along, right? They weren't here to really tell their story, but Mel, Rah, and Tom sort of took the reins,
yes.
And it was beautiful.
Yes. And also just a quick note, you do not have to listen to episode 145 before this one. It's not a requirement. However, we would encourage you so you have some background information, but you could listen to this one and then go back to listen to 145. It's totally up to you.
You could. You are free. You're a free human. You can listen however you'd like. Also, in the show notes, quick note there is links to Mel, Rah, and Tom's Instagram, where you can go check out all of their amazing adventures, their disco parties, and the like.
Mm-hmm.
There are also photos in the show notes, probably some that didn't make it on the IG. We'll call those exclusives.
Exclusives for our website.
And just tons of other awesome, amazing stuff from other previous guests. So check that out, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. And with that, we are going to jump right into the interview for anybody who is a premium subscriber. And for the rest of you, a couple of quick announcements, and then we're going to jump right in.
If you're not familiar with the premium subscription, it is a way to skip all of these upfront announcements and just jump right into the interview. But don't worry, you will still get any important dates for upcoming events in the outro. To sign up for the premium subscription, you can go to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, and right there on the homepage, you can sign up for the premium subscription.
You can also sign up using links in the podcast player show notes. For as little as $2 a month or $2 a year, you pick the price. We leave it up to you.
Next up, we have a virtual meet and greet. tonight.
Now.
That is November 30th, Wednesday, November 30th, 2022, depending on when you're listening to this. We have a meet and greet tonight. We would love, love, love to have you join us. These are open to anyone. You just must be open-minded and respectful, and you can pay what you want. So come join us. We would love to have you. They're super, super, super fun.
How fun are they, Emma?
Super fun. And they're really low pressure. Like, if you're nervous about joining, just come and be yourself. And if you're feel free to put it out there. Hey, I'm really anxious about this. I'm really nervous about this, but I want to meet people. We love when people just come and join the community, and it's awesome. We're excited. And if you missed tonight, if you're listening to this and say, hey, I already missed November 30th, don't worry. There's one at the end of December as well. Go to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, and you can sign up there under the events page.
Absolutely. We'd love to see you. As Emma said, these are super awesome. If you're looking for a little more community, a little more consistency out of your community, we also have our ongoing paid community that we've been running for almost 4 years now. I guess over 3 years now. Mm-hmm. We're sneaking up on the 300 members. It's fantastic. We just transitioned off of Patreon onto a new platform called Mighty Networks. It's amazing. The community is amazing. And you get a men's group, a women's group, you get monthly Q&As, and you get ongoing love and support from people from around the world. It's what?
Go for it.
No, let's hear it.
I was going to ask you, how do you sign up for that?
Well, you sign up for that the same place you sign up for everything. You go to normalizingnonmonogamy.com and you click on the community tab. And for just $5 a month, you get it all.
Yep.
And you could also sign up in your podcast player. There's links directly there as well.
There are lots of ways.
And so a huge thank you to everybody who's already part of the community. You are all amazing. And you also, a lot of you show up for these meet and greets. So if you want to get a little bit of flavor, you come to the meet and greet. And then you sign up for the Mighty Networks.
Yep.
That's how you do it.
That's true.
And the last thing we wanted to say, not quite the last. We have one other little thing after this thing.
Just psych.
But it's Emma and I's favorite affiliate partner of the show and our favorite way to get tested for STIs. This is the way that we get tested. We don't get tested before the virtual events, but if we were going to go to an in-person event,
we would definitely get tested.
We would definitely make that happen. The risk is pretty low on the virtual. You might get some malware infections. Just kidding. Well, our events are malware free.
Also, just to be clear, in case this isn't clear, our events are actually not sexual virtual events.
Fair enough. Which brings your risk of contracting anything even lower.
Even lower.
So the whole point is, Emma and I use a service called stdcheck.com. We've been using it for years. We absolutely love it. It's super easy. It is super fast. You sign up online, you register, you pay. Your stuff is faxed or emailed straight to whatever lab you choose. You show up, you give them all the stuff they want, mostly blood and pee.
Thanks for
and then what they give you in return are your results via text message, usually like 24 hours later.
And how can people sign up using our link?
Well, they can use our link to save $10, bringing the cost of a 10-panel test down to $129.
Correct.
And there are links in the podcast player show notes.
Plus
on our resources page on our website at normalizingnonmonogamy.com.
Plus.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
It supports the show.
Oh. Well, it does support the show.
So we thank you for using the links on our website.
Now I know what the hell you're talking about.
Anyway.
Plus, you can reach out to us at normalizingnonmonogamy.com. You click
we're trying to read each other's minds here. It's not working very well.
It's not. You click on the Contact Us tab. You can send us an email, send us a voicemail. That's how you end up on the show, like Mel Rah Tom. And you'll wind up in a throuple with a baby.
You never know.
Perhaps you could wind up in their throuple.
Yeah, also, you never know.
So, all right. We've talked at you enough. Let's go talk to these three wonderful humans.
Let's jump in. Okay. Take two.
All right.
No one knows that.
No one knows. Welcome back to the podcast, Mel, Rah, and Tom. We're super excited to have you here again. A lot has changed since last time we talked. And I'm sure we'll get to some of that. Maybe not even all of it. Maybe we have to do this for a third time.
I know the last time we talked, it was September 2020. So 2 years ago. Crazy.
The world was shut down. A lot has changed. Welcome back. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah. To kick us off, do you mind just reintroducing yourselves, just high level? People can go back and listen to your episode, but for anybody who doesn't or hasn't, just roughly who the three of you are, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. I'm Tom, and we live in the New England area. We've been a throuple for 3 years, and my wife and I have been together 17 years. Married 12.
And I'm Mel, and I joined the lovely throuple 3 years ago. And yeah, we've been through a lot of changes recently, but it's been really great.
And I'm Rah, and I'm super excited to talk to you guys again today and catch up on all the things. And I can't believe it's been 3 years.
I know.
That's gone so fast, you guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, 2 since we've talked, and 3 since you've been together. And just for clarity's sake, so Tom and Rah, you're married. You have been married for a while. And Mel, you joined the party. You created the throuple, to be fair. You didn't join the throuple. You are the reason the throuple exists.
Yes.
And so that was a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Do you mind giving a little bit of background on how the throuple came to be, maybe in like just a couple minutes, and then we can jump into all of the new
updates.
I mean, I guess it's kind of never mind. No spoilers. No spoilers. I almost spoiled it.
I'll do this because Tommy can't. He'll take too long to explain. So I joined Field in the summer of 2019, and Tommy we met in the wild first, unknowingly, but he didn't get my number or anything. And then a week later, I matched with Rah on Field, and Tommy recognized me through the app. And then we went on our first date, and it's kind of just we started off not sure what we wanted, and then it just has evolved ever since.
Yeah. Good. Great summary. And for anybody who's like, I need more, well, go back and listen. That's your own fault. So where we left off, fall of 2020, maybe where were things back then? And
bring us forward.
And what happened after we stopped talking to you three?
Yeah, I think some of the big headlines are we have other partners now. Each of us has other people that we see. So now we have this fantastic actual polycule of amazing people. And we all practice, or we try to practice kitchen table poly. Actually, we've given it our own term, which is disco ball poly, because we all like go dancing together and have tons of fun and do way more than just having dinner at a kitchen table. But we have a bigger community now, and it's just a great group of people. And that's been a big change, I think. It's not just the three of us anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so I want to talk about like that evolution, because I know that was a big sort of thread last time we talked, was it was sort of a closed ecosystem. Mm-hmm. But what is it like? What does the constellation look like?
Oh, we need an org chart.
I know we meant to have a whiteboard, but I guess it's a podcast, so they wouldn't be able to see the whiteboard anyway. But.
Why don't we just go in like chronological order?
Okay.
So you go first.
So I met Mark, my other partner,
right around when we first chatted.
Yeah, right around then. That was when we were first getting to know each other, and that was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess a few months later, so Rah had been trying to find another date, and Mel and I had really hit it off one-on-one, as well as, the throuple was strong, but Mel and I also had our own great connection. And so Rah wanted to find her own like kind of one-on-one connection, and she found Mark. And then Mel was also dating, and I was like, they were going on all these first dates, and I was like, I kind of want to see what that's like. I haven't gone on a first date in years, like decade years. And so I ended up finding a really awesome person named Michelle on OkCupid, and went on a first date and hit it off, and been with her now 2 years as well. So that then, well, Mel, why don't you talk about your history then? Because there's been a couple people.
So then right around like right around that time we met Michelle, I started dating a person, and it kind of lasted like 9 months, 10 months. So like till the fall, like till last winter, but we have since broken up. But I'm dating a new person. His name is David, and he's amazing. And we met in February of this most recent year. So we've been together for 8 months now. But yeah, everybody really fits together well. There's also other parts of the constellation, but those are like the main 3.
The main ones.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is like, and they're not here to talk about it, but we all have hung out for holidays, Halloween, New Year's, and whatnot.
Birthdays.
Yeah.
Baby showers.
And, so Mark and Michelle actually had become friends, and were friends and would hang out, just the two of them for months. And we were all kind of wondering, like, they were hanging out a lot like friends, and they're like, no, it's just friends. And then they eventually started dating. So
there's kind of a quad within the polycule, because it's them two and their partners.
So they've begun dating.
Yeah.
In how many months has happened?
I don't know.
It's been a few.
It's been at least
See
3.
why we need a chart.
Yeah. Well, that makes it simpler.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, and what was the process like of sort of
Opening up?
going from a closed unit to that? I mean, that's a big shift, going from sort of polyfidelitous to we're going to start opening this up again.
I don't really think we ever considered ourselves polyfidelitous. I just think that we were so caught up in the NRE of the throuple and everything that was going on. Like,
it also was COVID, so that was like we weren't really dating.
That was a weird time.
It was just a
social distance date.
Yeah.
There wasn't really a hard and fast rule about that, but like we kind of just like slowly started like toe dipping into dating other people, and that was always on the table.
And it was never meeting these other people saying, hey, you have to become part of this group and everybody has to vet you and we all have to get along and hang out. That just happened organically and slowly over time. It was like one of your birthday parties. You're like, I want to have everyone together. And we all had lots of check-ins and conversations about, can we all hang out in the same space for a few hours? And what's that going to feel like?
Yeah.
And it went great. So we're like, maybe we should do this again. And it just kind of took on a life of its own.
Yeah. I mean, the personalities of everyone like jive so well, like it seems pretty natural that like someone who I would consider like someone I want in my life would also get along with my other partners who get along with me, like you end up like birds of a feather a little, and what's funny is like, there's been some time, like I'd say more like a year ago or so, the first time that I had, I don't know, maybe it was more like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, I had Mel meet Michelle for the first time, and like the 3 of us went and grabbed dinner just so like they could meet, and we had dinner, and then we were having a great conversation. This is fun. Like, you want to go out for more drinks, and we ended up hanging out that night, and we're like, let's hang out again. Like, this was really fun, and it almost budded a little. Another throuple, but it never, not that anyone was intending that to happen, but like the 3 of us would go out and have fun as friends, and because we're all pretty extroverted, and would just go have a blast. And we actually even like coined a name for our little group. We call ourselves the Wrecking Crew. And so like, there's just been different fun dynamics that we've been able to enjoy out of like the friends, like the partners also being friends with one another and stuff like that. It's become like a little cool like family of sorts.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm curious, like, what are some of the challenges, I guess, in the constellation, navigating that over the last few years? Have there been any?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the feels.
I feel like it always comes down to just like having check-ins before we, hang out as a large group, and making sure everyone's aware of like, what are you comfortable doing? What are you comfortable seeing? Like, is it okay if I kiss Tommy when I'm when David is here? Like, is that okay with everyone? Those are kind of, I would say, the thing that is the most like, but it's a overcomable challenge for sure. Like, it's.
Yeah. For instance, like when we would do holiday things, my wife and I bought a house, and it's a house big enough for everyone to kind of crash here and stuff. So we kind of say like, I'll inevitably like, be in one room just sleeping in the same bed as like say Michelle, and Rah will be in another room with Mark, and Mel will be with her partner in another room. And we kind of have a rule like, all right, like this is just a PG night. Like, no, we
if we're all in the same house, it's like, you don't want to be waking up to anything.
Yeah.
Friend zone.
Yeah. We kind of friend zone it. Yeah. And that helps kind of navigate some of the more difficult things, I think it also comes down to time, because as you're adding more partners, there's just limit. Love is infinite, right? But time is limited, and
Not. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so that's been difficult. So just finding the balance of, getting your needs met and being able to like, spend enough time and, find that you like are able to kind of like water that and like feed that relationship with what, but also my wife and I had a baby 3 months ago. So for the last year we've had, she's been was pregnant for 9 months, and now, so that's been difficult too.
There's a lot of layers.
So there's a new member of the polycule. She's 3 months old and she's sleeping upstairs.
Yeah. Which congratulations, by the way. This interview was actually supposed to happen pre-baby.
Yeah.
But it got a little too chaotic. Clearly why there's 100 of you in your polycule. And so it makes sense why you couldn't make room for 2 more. But we're glad to be doing it now. And I definitely want to come back to the impact of bringing a baby into it. But
that's not a small one.
No. Well, yeah. But I'm curious, and without, I don't know, maybe without like getting super specific on like who or anything, I'm just curious. I'll throw out like a hypothetical. Like, so Tommy, for instance, is it perhaps easier for you to watch Rah find a new partner than maybe Mel, right? Like you have a longer history with Rah, and now you've got this sort of newer relationship with Mel, and she's dating and Rah's dating. Is like one of those easier? And I guess maybe same question, Rah or Mel, like, is it easier for you to see like a longer term, more secure, quote unquote, more secure relationship opening up than maybe one that's a little newer?
100%.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
When it comes down to trust, and Tom and I have like almost 2 decades of that built now. So when you're with somebody that's newer, or it's something that is still fresh, it's more challenging, and you just don't have like those big roots of a tree. It's a smaller tree, basically.
We like to use the plants as like an analogy for these relationships.
The whole like forest.
That's why I was saying like water. But sorry, I interrupted you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's exactly it. But it's been lots of communication, lots of at the end of the day, a lot of leaps of faith. You just have to trust that, okay, you're going to go do your thing and you'll come back. And that so far everybody's proved that that's the case, and that's been great.
Yeah, so with Mel's first round at another.
I would say first round.
So you might want to let me know.
Well, they're two very important people to her, but like there were challenges like for me, and with this most recent person that Mel's with, there's definitely been some challenges, and I can let Mel talk about it because I don't want to like speak for her and their experience in there. But we've definitely been having to go through a little bit of some growing pains, but I think we're getting to a better place as of even just like as recent as of this last week. A lot of check-ins and a lot of work.
Yeah, so my new partner, David, he has never been poly before, and I'm his like first look into that, and it's definitely...
They met on Field.
Yeah.
We should probably
I said that.
Oh, you
I
did?
said that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's definitely struggled with it, like what you were just saying. It's a newer relationship, so him seeing me with these two, knowing that we have 3 years of history, has been really difficult for him. Feeling like we don't have that security yet because it's like such a brand new relationship. So, yeah, for the last little bit, I've been kind of spending a lot more time with him, trying to like grow those roots and really make our love strong. And it coincided with the baby coming, so it kind of worked out like how it would have anyway, really. But a little bit of some extra like layers thrown in there. But we're working toward it, and David's feeling more comfortable and kind of trying to get back into the throuple magic that we have never lost, but just it got like lowered a little bit, and just like time spent together there hasn't been as much time because of baby and because of other things. So
It's different when Tom and I took a previously mostly monogamous relationship and opened it up after a long time together, and then we're adding these partners, and they're coming in, and we're telling them and letting them know, hey, this is open from day one. So that's a big shift. That's a huge ask of somebody, especially somebody who's never done it before, to make them buy into being with me and being with a new person, but also learn this entirely new way of thinking and reprogram yourself at the same time.
And like immediately share.
No joke.
Yeah.
Which is what I was going to kind of jump in and say was, I mean, to just put ourselves in his shoes for a minute. Like, it's not even just that Mel's like, well, yeah, I'm polyamorous. It's like, I'm in an established like throuple. They're having a baby. We've been doing this for years. And come on in let's just break your monogamy and just that's how you're breaking into it, right? Like that's a big leap for David.
Right, right.
He's really doing amazingly, and he's doing a lot of self-work. He has a lot of past relationships that have been like very, very monogamous and very like toxic. I would say toxic from the others, like from his old partner's side. So he has a lot that he's working through, and he's really, really come leaps and bounds. So I'm really, really proud of him. He's like, it's been amazing. Even though I've had to like lose some time with these guys, I still feel like I have, we've maintained our relationship as best we can. And it's nice when there's a brand new little one in there to get to see him cuddle. So.
Yeah. I was also kind of curious too, Mel, like on again, sort of just guessing, but like you said, Tom, like it's, and Rah, like it's easier to open an existing 20-year marriage than it is a newer relationship. And I guess, Mel, you're sort of like the hinge of that. You're the person who's in a new relationship with two people. And so inevitably it's harder for you to, I don't know, like the feeling I was like projecting would be like limited. And I know that this probably was never like the intention, but like you see, it's like, well, it's easier for Rah to go out and date than it is for me, just in terms of like the newness, and you're getting it sort of from two sides. Like, I'm just curious, like how that experience was for you.
I feel like from the beginning, like that was the reason why I didn't date anyone for like a while. Like we were together for a whole year and a half, right? Before I started seeing anybody else. So, and it was COVID. It was like a whole list of things, but I was the last person of the three of us to start like dating seriously. I definitely had gone on a couple like first dates that were like fine, but, I wasn't actually dating anyone seriously for that amount of time. And I've said that before because like, I had these two brand new relationships that I wanted to cultivate. And like right now I'm starting a new relationship with David, and I don't, there's no push I have no intention to go out and start dating someone else new because I'm trying to like make this relationship like as great as it can be. And so that definitely happened like twofold when I was starting dating both of these guys. So, but I never felt limited. I felt like, oh my God, look at all this amazing new love I get to experience. And I just wanted to spend every second with these guys. And then it was COVID.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah. And that's a great point. And I didn't mean to like put the blame on to Rah and Tom, but like it's a valid point that it's like you're sort of inundated with like, and you don't have time, and you don't even really necessarily want to. Like you have two brand new relationships you're cultivating versus
it's actually
one.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Yeah, there's 3, and when I started, when I went on the date with Michelle, like I was not intending at all for it to become another partner. I was like hoping just to meet a cool person, maybe a friend with benefits, just to toe dip in to see what it's like to go on a first date. And we just hit it off. And I was just like, all right, well, let's hang out again. You're awesome. And then like that became a few months, and that became like, wow, I think I really care about this person. Like, wow, I actually love this person. And I had originally been telling, because I had no intention. I didn't really feel like I needed to date anyone else because of feeling so fulfilled with my relationship with Rah and Mel and the throuple, like the three. And so, and then I just like kind of found myself like having to make room, wanting to make room. And I was really originally telling these guys like, oh yeah, it's, I don't think it's gonna be anything serious. And then it kind of like changed. And then I was like, okay. And they were like, well, this is what you said. And I'm like, I know, but like now this is a new thing I want to have in my life. And so they had to make space for it. And, the rest is history. And,
I feel like it allowed all of us to make our other relationships more important, not more important than the throuple necessarily, but like the throuple was so strong at the beginning. And then we kind of like, we were able to each give more energy to our other partners, but still because we had that like really strong base, like of a year of like basically just each other, we had plenty of we had a solid foundation to kind of branch off and make those extra relationships. Because like your relationship with Marcus was like all of us have very, very special like other relationships are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
which you wouldn't think was possible.
Yeah, and that's like kind of what happened with David was initially, he met us pretty early and he knew like exactly. Well, Mel didn't like hide anything, but once he started dating her and then he started realizing he like loved her, and then things with him became difficult, like in that like he wasn't expecting to, I don't know, fall as deep in love with Mel. I mean, I knew he would. Who wouldn't? But like, with him not having any experience with this and it being a new relationship, like it was very difficult for him. And I felt for him because I knew how difficult that could be. And, there was a big scaling back of our throuple and specifically the relationship between Mel and I to make room for David, over the summer. And I wanted to make room for that because, I knew that was important to Mel and that our relationship was strong enough to be able to withstand some new boundaries or agreements and stuff like that. But after a while, it was becoming like, shoot, like, am I losing her? Like, because he was wanting more and more. And we were just like, okay, yeah, you can spend more time. Okay, we'll see you next week. Oh, we'll see you the week after that. And then it was just like, oh shit. Like, we gave a lot of space, but then we started having to be like, okay, like, wait, like we got to talk about this because it feels like you're halfway out the door. So that's something that was difficult, like going back to what we were originally talking about, but it's gotten a lot better and hopefully, things become easier for him and for all of us, as he grows, and I think he's awesome. He's an awesome dude. Like, I think I could be really, really great friends with him. There's just like, some hurdles that we need to get past and some growing pains, but I think we're all going to be better off as a result once it's like behind us. And those anytime, all those firsts are hard, so.
Well, all of it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
And like, it sounds like, you shifted one way for a bit and now you gotta kind of like, well, that we can sustain that. We can do that for a little bit, but now you kind of shift back and then, but still nurture those other, it's just such a balance. Life is a balancing act.
Well, and NRE is, I mean, it's such a real thing. And people, I think if you haven't really experienced it, like when it is on, it is on. And it's like, and if you're now watching your partner or maybe two partners simultaneously going through NRE with other people, and you start to feel like, did you forget about me? And it's like, well, I didn't forget about Emma when we were going through that. Or, I mean, I think some days we still are, right? And it's like, you don't forget about them, but it just kind of washes over you and it takes over. And I think it can trigger all of the responses on the other side, the jealousy, the envy, the fear. And so I think it's a really hard balance to strike. So I feel for you, Tom. And I also like feeling for David too, right? Like he's like coming in, like he's in the NRE being like, I can't get enough. Like I need more and everybody needs more, but there's not more to be had. Like how many ways can you split a 24-hour day? Right. And it's hard.
Plus that balance, like on top of everything is like a brand new baby. And like these two are like full-time parents now. And it was like, whoa, it was a big
We had an intense summer.
It's been intense. It's like that on top of everything else is just like you got to keep reminding yourself of that.
There was a lot of, not drama, but there was a lot of hard moments where we were like either just about to have a baby or just having had a baby, and we're like, we need you, Mel, like we need you in our lives, like we miss you, we want your support, like you're a support person. And you know, David wanted all of her time too, so there was a little bit of like Mel was being pulled in the middle. A little tug of war.
There's not enough Mel.
and it killed me. And it killed me to not complain, but like it killed me to like express my feelings about it to Mel, because like I know she was being pulled on the other side, and like it was killing her a little bit, and she would cry, and that's like I just like felt like I needed to like just swallow my feelings, because like I just didn't want to make her uncomfortable or sad. But like it's hard. It's hard when it can be difficult knowing that like what you're asking for is putting your partners in a difficult position, whether or not they can or can't meet your needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if you don't say something, then like you're the one that grows resentment too. And that's not healthy for a relationship either.
No,
exactly.
What was that experience like for you, Mel, being caught where you're like, I don't know, the analogy of like a ping pong ball probably, or a tug of war, right? Like that's going to be really hard.
Yeah, it was really hard. I felt like I wasn't, like I couldn't, like no one was happy. Like whatever I did, like no, I couldn't make anybody really like happier. And including myself, like that's my biggest thing that I talk about my therapist with is like, have you gotten time for yourself this week? And I'm like, not really. So yeah, it was very difficult, but, I do feel like we are coming to the other side, which feels good. And like, I know David has really, really grown leaps and bounds and is always working on himself and his feels. And, you know, he's really trying hard to accept and embrace polyamory. But I think that's like you said, like that's a hard thing to do, especially when you're in the middle of NRE and
never expected to be.
Didn't expect it. Wasn't really planning on it. And then all of a sudden.
I don't know if this is for me.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can all agree on paper. Yeah, sounds wonderful. But when you're in it and dealing with the emotions in real time, and it's never at a convenient time, of course, it's much more challenging.
Yeah.
But the benefits are, like, if you can get it down.
Yeah, but it takes time and a lot of effort.
And trust. Like, the big thing is, like, the trust. And he had those toxic relationships where there was some infidelity and some horrible things that like really struck down his confidence. And I fucking feel so bad for him that happened. And I can imagine that like that's a big uphill battle. I mean, Rah and I had some of our own infidelity issues going back to the earlier stages in our relationship. And I struggled with those for years and years and years. And it wasn't until polyamory or delve into this that like I was able to actually kind of heal that trauma or get resolved for like those like past issues with Rah and I going back long time, that like I finally felt like I could trust her and that I wasn't going to think about those, you know, those things. And I'm hoping, and I've been saying this to Mel, that like I think and hope that like this will help heal that, you know, those terrible experiences for him.
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, it will eventually heal you and make you feel better, but at the beginning it's going to feel worse and like you're reliving it over and over again. And that's why I try to keep reminding him is like, it's not going to get better immediately. Like it is going to be hard. So
but you
like
have to
working
trust me.
through.
Like you can trust me. You can trust me.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, and all of this, not to discount Rah over here carrying a child and about to bring one into the world, and like can you remind everybody and a couple of pieces, like before other partners started coming into the picture, what would the average like week look like in terms of time spent amongst the three of you or dyads of you, and was there a relationship between Mel and Rah as well, like a romantic relationship as well? Because then you're also sort of dealing with that simultaneously.
Yeah, I think before it was lots of throuple time, probably several times a week. And then you guys would hang out between the two of you at least once a week.
Mhm.
And Mel and I would have dates every few weeks, I would say. Is that,
Okay.
do you agree?
Yeah. It used to be like 2 nights a week with Mel and I.
Mm-hmm.
especially during lockdown, me and Tommy we literally always wanted to have throuple time. Rah had to finally be like, hey, I can't do this every day. I'm an introvert. Get away from me.
That too. I got a lot of time to myself eventually, and that was great.
But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of time spent together for sure.
Yeah.
But then as the other partners came in, then it was trying to find that balance of like, all right, something's got to give, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like when Rah and I were kind of going through trying to find the balance with our own relationship, you know, and, you know, there's 7 days in a week or whatever, you know, I would spend one day we would spend one day with our partner, one day with a different partner, one day with a throuple day. And then it's like, oh, then Rah and I have 4 days together. But like 3 of those days is like housekeeping stuff, like working and like doing chores and keeping the house up. So it's like,
or going to visit family and in-laws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And seeing
So like,
other friends.
so those times that we were spending with our partners were like this really great quality time date night type things. But like if Rah and I weren't careful, we weren't getting any date night, even though we were spending 4 days a week with each other. Like there were no dates.
And like living
Right.
together. I remember that was always hard for me because I was always like, especially when you started dating Michelle and I wasn't dating anyone else yet, I'd be like, well, you go on your dates with Michelle and then you go home to Rah and then I'm just here at my house alone by myself. And like, it's hard. Once you like live it and see it, that, you know, the days that they're they're at the house together is not always like this romantical, like it's just like roommate situation. But
You better be scrubbing the toilet, Tom. You better not be having fun tonight.
I'm a good house husband. Thank you.
I don't want any fun tonight. It's work, so we can have a fun date night. Which is a thing that happens is you spend time, and this is a trap we fall into.
When
like,
you live together with someone, especially, and like there's a lot of things that are shared, and like there's a lot of the time that could be date night time is not date night time because you're doing all of the other things of life.
When you find yourself trying to scramble, staying up late together to get work done so you can have a great weekend with a partner who's coming to visit, or a date night on Zoom or whatever it is, right? And so you start to have to check yourself and say, are we sacrificing quality time with each other to free up quality time with other people?
Right.
And of course you're going to some degree, like inevitably, but you have to find that balance.
Yep.
You have to be intentional about it or it blows up in your face.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's done that.
How has it gone for the three of you to do that? Like, have you each come through it in a different way? Like, we now get to pick 3 different people's brains about how they do it. I think that's super exciting.
We have a very cool color-coded calendar system.
Yep.
That helps a lot. And
partners, like shared calendars amongst partners and like multiple layers. So, I mean, that's not new to the podcast, but
lots of planning. We're kind of become the people now who plan things pretty far in advance. At least a couple weeks usually, because
like my parents, today were like, "Can you come home this weekend?" And I was like, "No, like you need to plan with me at least 3 weeks in advance, family. Like, I'm not just on your beck and call. I have plans."
Yeah.
I feel like it's just been a work in progress, and we're pretty good at it now, especially amongst the 3 of us. Like we're pretty good at like communicating, and it's hard with new partners. Like I know it's hard for me and David when I like bring up like, hey, what do you think about me seeing Tommy this day this week? And with these guys, it's just like, hey, I'm going to see David this night. I'm going to see you this night. And this, like, what do you think about that? And it's like, yeah, no problem. But in the new relationships, like that's a little, you have to be more gentle. But with these guys, it's pretty easy.
Yeah,
I think that goes back to that security piece. From earlier. Yeah, for sure.
I think we got to a point at one point where we were starting to like, we had a check-in where we were like, we're not getting like, didn't feel like anyone's tanks were ever getting up to like an adequate level, because like the calendar, like we were trying to fit everything into a 1 week block. So then we kind of started thinking like, all right, well, let's maybe not think about it in a 1 week block and have it be more of like a 2 or 3 week. It's like, where you might be able to see one person 2 days in a row and then you don't see him for 2 weeks. It's kind of like you saw him 1 day per week, it kind of averages it out. So like we were trying to think about it different than like just trying to see a certain amount of people every week, just trying to find a balance over a longer like time horizon, and that ended up kind of helping me anyway, like process some feels about like what sort of quality time I was going to be able to get with who, or what other people were doing with other people, and not feeling like I was getting enough.
Yeah, because one of the things that has shifted is it's not just dates and overnights anymore. It's like trips and weekends and meeting families and much bigger things, which is awesome. And it's really cool that we're to that point. But those are bigger time investments and emotional investments, and got to make sure you share the love across everything still.
Yeah, completely.
Oh, I think the other piece though that is important to remember now is you're also taking care of a child. And so it's not like, Tommy, you can go off on your date with Michelle, and Rah, you head off with Mark. That would be a great way to do it. Like, well, hey, we're both going to go on a date tonight, and and Mel, you're off with David. So like, great. But like, I guess you could, if you land a babysitter, right? But like, it adds some complications. So I'm curious what the introduction of your daughter has done for the dynamic.
I think
I'm proud of us for how we've dealt with it so far.
Me too, but I will be the first to say we do not have it figured out yet. It's only been 3 months, and we're very much in trial and error stage. Some things are working really well in terms of giving each other space. Like, hey, Tommy, I know you need a night away and get a good night's sleep. Go hang out with Michelle. I'll take care of the baby, or vice versa. Or like, now that we have a bigger space, we have dates in the house while the other people are here. Tom will be upstairs with the baby while I'm hanging out watching a movie with Mark. I feel like that's been a really big step and a positive one, and something that I know that's not everybody's able to do that just because of space, and that's a big emotional step to be comfortable with your partners hanging out with somebody else, like right under your same roof at the same exact time. But that's been great. And we've had a lot of family around too. So luckily our families know everybody. And like, our baby shower was our entire extended family, even people in my family I didn't think would be okay with this. Like,
who didn't know about it until like a week before.
Yeah, I called them up and be like, hey, by the way, you're going to meet all these people, and here's who they actually are and what it means. And it went fine. And I was just explaining, like, there's family, and then there's our chosen family, which are all the partners, and they've become an incredible support system. And in particular for me, trying to figure out being a new mom, I would be completely lost without everybody. And everybody's been chipping in, like cooking food, coming by to help, offering to babysit, just moral support. Like, Rah needs a couple hours away, things like that. It's been a huge change, and everybody's been pretty incredible about it, and on our team, and really supportive.
We've rotated. We've like kind of found like a pretty deep. We had a lot of check-ins about how we were going to be able to do this once the baby came. While Rah was pregnant, second, third trimester, we're like, all right, it's like, this shit's about to get real. Like, how are we going to do this? Because this is something like, I think some people thought like, oh, once you have the baby, all that stuff's going away. And we're like, no, like we want to make this work. So how are we going to do it? And so like, feel like it's gotten to a decent, as early as it's been. She's only 3 months old, but like for instance, on Monday, Rah's going to go have a date with Mark and spend a night away from the house. And Mel's going to be here to help me take care of the baby. So like, we're going to be here to take care of the baby. It'll be fun to play with her and, do that. And then when she goes to bed, like Mel and I will get a couple hours, 2-3 hours before we have to go to bed, and it'll be a little date night, but we're here taking care of the baby. And then like on Wednesday of next week, Rah's going to be here. Maybe Mark will come or not, but like I'm going to go spend a night at Michelle's place, and Mark will be here with the baby, so like they can hang out, but Mark's also helping Rah Rah's not here by herself taking care, because it's a lot with a newborn, to be here by yourself for 24 hours because she's on like a 3-hour feeding schedule ish still. So like to do that by yourself and not have anyone else to help you is hard. So like our partners have very, very much stepped up and been okay with spending time with her and one of us,
She's cute as a button, so it's easy to get us to come
adorbs.
hang out.
So, we're all very much in.
Yeah,
I love
that
it.
helps, right?
I love it. I feel like polyamory for you was really a long game of how do you get more support when you do bring a child. This was a nefarious plan all
the
along.
saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child, right? So why,
It really
why
does.
not?
I had no idea.
Why not?
Yeah.
But I think
I'm not. I don't need to
Everyone
go down
like
that road.
loves her. Like they want to come here and spend time with her, and
Yeah.
I think there have been people who have been like a little nervous, like, wait, I don't want to just be a babysitter. And it's like, no, but if you come help me one night, then we can have our own night. Like we're just sharing. This is all about balance and like being like a good sharer, So,
It's the name of the game.
yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, and those partners, I mean, just like any other thing that's part of your life, they do have the agency to opt out, right?
Yeah, it's like they're opting in. Yeah.
If whatever, I have a job that's really dangerous and a partner's like, I can't deal with the stress of that. Like, well, yeah, I mean, it's either on me to not have that job or them to not be in the relationship. And it's, it's everybody's kind of picking what's best for them. And it's hard when people are in love, especially if you fall in love pre-baby. And then the baby comes along and you're like, well, this isn't the same relationship that I started, a year and a half or two ago. So I can see that as well.
Yeah. So we've been lucky, and everybody's been not only supportive, but have stepped up, have really shown up for us in so many ways. And they didn't have to, and they chose to.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And the question I was going to ask earlier is what you asked. So you nailed it. But the other, you had mentioned earlier that you had the baby shower and with the family and everything went well. Like, have you had any hiccups or with family or other friends outside? Like, what has been that journey?
Yeah, I think we've, for the most part, been lucky that our actual family has been pretty accepting and welcoming of everybody. I mean, for the most part, there have been hiccups. I think there's some, to our face, everybody's great with it and kind to our partners when they meet them and spend time with them. But then every so often we hear behind closed doors other things being said, or from other family members that so-and-so texted so-and-so about this, and that's how they actually feel. And I think that's one of the challenges of living a non-traditional life, is even if people are not to your face, saying how they really feel, they do feel differently and aren't always on your team about it. And that's hard.
I feel like it's because we're like, you guys especially are like living non-traditionally, and then like you're also doing traditional things like having a baby, and it's like people get so confused, like, what? Like, how is that possible? How can you do both? Like small-minded old people like cannot handle that. Right, I don't mean
it is a good concept to bring up though. Like there are more traditional roles, working a 9 to 5, in a, more traditional job, having a baby, buying a house, and then having multiple relationships and navigating all of that. Like and other things that are more non-traditional, and trying to merge those two I think people in our society in general have an easier time when they can like separate. Mm-hmm. And when it like merges, it's harder to understand, harder to wrap your mind around.
It like explodes people's brains. Mm-hmm. I just had a pretty good talk with my mom about it, who has historically not been very supportive. And it kind of ended up, I know she's just like, she's trying to be protective. She thinks I'm going to get hurt, blah, blah, blah. But she does have like kind of, reasoning, because like my last relationship ended, not necessarily like because of these guys or like because I was polyamorous, but like it did end. And so my mom sees that as like a partner who I could have had and like been happy with, but it ended. And like I am, still doing this non-conventional thing that she doesn't really understand. And then she's met David, or both my parents have, and they really like him. So they're so nervous that like what I have with David will end the same way that my previous relationship did. And so I tried to tell her that like, we're working on it. Like, it's a work in progress, but like I've been with these guys for so long, and this isn't just like, a phase of my life. This is like my life. This is how I want to live it. And, in the end, she said, I will work on being more supportive, which like, you don't know my mom, but that was a big sentence. So I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It shows progress. Go ahead.
No, yeah. I think it's the idea that somehow the mononormative dyad is a more valid, that's your long-term goal. This is a thing. You'll grow out of this once you find the right one. Yeah. Time to move away from this and into that. And mm-hmm. when she got to watch what would be a quote, a dyad, mm-hmm. like come and go while mm-hmm. the triad just stayed, mm-hmm. like that had to be like, what? Like that has to mess with your head. Like as a person who's maybe not as familiar with these types of dynamics. And I think probably even people in this world, it's like, because we're all so conditioned to like gravitate towards the one, for that to not outlast is very against the grain. And mm-hmm. I think it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Michelle isn't here to talk about it, but she's going through her own issues with her family, just to bring it up like briefly. So she has a large family with a fairly conservative, like there's a lot of conservative people in her family, and like she's got 4 brothers, and like her parents all have 4 siblings, like there's like 75 first cousins or something crazy. And so like her younger brother is her closest sibling, and she told him about, and I actually went out to Seattle to meet him. It was the first time I met any of like her parents. Didn't know for a long time. For like a year and a half of our relationship, I was a complete secret. And she was very nervous about telling anyone. And then her younger brother outed her mistakenly to her family, talking about like this boyfriend of hers. And they were like, boyfriend? What? And then it just kind of snowballed. And then it just like went wildfire through the family of her family, of like, oh, this is what's going on in Michelle's life. And now Michelle's family knows about Mark too. So there's this married, quote unquote, married guy. And then there's this other person that she's dating 2 men, and they're just like mind blown and being very judgmental. And she's having a rough go with it right now. I feel really bad for her. And I wish I could do something to help, like, I don't know, mitigate it or like fix it or something, but I haven't had the opportunity to meet anyone other than her younger brother, who's like, 26 and, young and cool about it. But, the family dynamic can be difficult.
Yeah.
For some.
Super difficult. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Well, especially if you're like, you're going to need to plan a month and a half out because we got a lot of stuff going on. So I can see where, they maybe struggle with a little bit of the jealousy as well. Like I don't get to see my daughter anymore because she's so busy.
yeah, they do actually kind of give her some grief about that.
Well, I think us having a kid has put us and all of this under much more of a microscope because people are acutely aware of, wait, they're doing things differently and about to raise a person. What does that mean?
What's that going to do?
Yeah.
The grandparents can be a little protective about like what's best for the child.
Yeah. And they're around more with you said you've had a lot of family visiting, so they're seeing it more and more too.
Well, they were around a lot, which was great. Like Rah's family was here. They normally live far away, and they were here for the first 6 weeks. More than that, yeah, like living in this house. So it was like was amazing. But
Rah's parents were pretty awesome about Mel out of the get-go, but when it came to Mark, there was definitely some growing that they had to do. But Rah put her foot down, like, if you want to be in my life, these people are in my life, so get used to it. And they were like, okay.
Well, now they love him, and we're all on the big family text chain together, so it's cool.
I mean, that's huge to do, though, to stand up like that. I mean, especially having just had a kid. Like, I don't know. Are you able to talk a little bit about that, Rah?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that they were like hostile about it or anything. They were just like, oh, there's another person. Okay. I think they were thinking that Mel was going to be it.
Because once it's something that's closed off and safe, then it's different, but it's okay.
Yeah. And I think of course, like most of our culture, it's fine if it's a woman, but there's a nice little double standard that it's much harder if there's another man, of course.
Yeah.
So I think there was some learning there, but we did that well over a year ago before pregnancy and baby and everything, so that as they started spending more time with Mark and getting to meet him and see what he means to me, things naturally worked out really well. And especially after we had her and he was around coming over every week to help out with things, my parents really got to see the side of him that I see, and they're big fans, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love that, you are introducing someone new. They're like, they got used to Mel, right? And they got used to this dynamic. And then someone new, oh no, like maybe they were thinking we wouldn't have to go through this again. Like we got used to this one. So then having to do it again, but it's amazing that they've come around and, done that work to embrace Mark. And, that's awesome.
Yeah. I was kind of curious looking, if we were to rewind 2 years ago, I venture to guess none of the three of you would have predicted this is where you would be today. Like each of you having other fairly serious long-term people that you're in love with, a child, you've gone through multiple iterations of different relationships. Do you have any vision of what do I want this to be? Or is it just sort of, let's just see what tomorrow brings and we'll keep trying to be awesome humans to one another?
Excellent question.
Both. Rah likes to joke about.
Rah has a vision.
Rah likes to joke about a big poly compound.
Oh yeah, I want to buy like a whole bunch of houses on a cul-de-sac, and like we all live right there, and all the kids maybe are in one house, and then the other ones are like kid-free zones where people can go hang out, and nothing. The furniture is immaculate. I don't know.
Furniture is immaculate. Well, let me know how that pans out.
No, but I do think we learned a lot of important lessons. The biggest one being, you don't know. You can't plan. The best thing you can plan for is change and continuing to grow, because like the minute you stop and you think you've got it figured out, it's just going to smack you in the face again, and you have to grow more.
That's life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there was a time where we had entertained or discussed, whether or not Mel would come live with us. We've talked about what it would be like for other partners to come live with us, or for all of us to live together and stuff like that. I mean, it's probably too premature, but who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. I've never been a planner, so like I know some people have like a 5-year plan.
Just with your schedule.
No, I am planned, with my immediate schedule, but like the 5-year plan, BS. I've never been a person like that, so I'm just doing it one day at a time, trying to be as good of a partner as I can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How has it been adapting to, and I'm sorry, I'm just like rapid fire questions. Like adapting to, I mean, it's an adaptation when you're like, well, I'm married to Emma and now I have a new partner, and there's intricacies of each relationship. There's intricacies of each person and the dynamic between each person. And now you're doing it. Essentially, all of you have 2 other partners, or actually 3 other partners. And so now you're just amplifying all of that. And I can see, obviously, there's a ton more love. How do you start to like sort out and keep track of all of like the nuances of each dyad that you're in? Not only the dyads, but then the triads and the blossoming triads and the waning triad. Like there's a lot of
quad
things
in there.
There's a quad. There's a lot happening.
Good question.
That is a good question.
I mean,
Mel's just like looking at me like, oh my God. I hadn't thought about it until you just asked.
I feel like it doesn't take that much, like, at least work on my part to like bounce between, you know? Like, I feel like our relationship is so like easy and always has been. I guess like all my relationships are very easy. Like they don't require me to put, like, obviously I'm putting in a lot of effort, but it is.
The last handful of months has not been easy for you.
You're right. But I'm saying like the bouncing between, like his question was like, you know, when I have my time with Tommy, is it hard for me to like then do throuple time and then have time with David? Like, I don't feel like I need to like rebalance myself between or anything like that. Like I don't know. It comes pretty naturally. I feel like going between. I don't know. Does that make sense?
For me, for the kind and the depth and the caliber of relationships that I look for, I'm definitely at my max. There can't be any more. We're good, especially with this whole new parenthood business. But they are so deep and so solid and secure now that it's pretty easy, like Mel said. And I think it makes a world of difference that all of our partners communicate with each other and are open with each other and hang out and have such good friendship, metamor relationships. I think it would be much more challenging if they didn't, or things were a lot more in the parallel poly space, or don't ask, don't tell even, because I think a lot of work gets done just by people being able to talk to each other, and you don't have to be middleman constantly between people.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, Rah and David had a really great phone conversation yesterday, and I talked to them both afterward, and both were like, oh my God, Rah's amazing. And Rah's like, I love talking to David. And like, it was just so things like that would definitely make things a lot easier when people are able to talk and sort things out.
Check in with each other. Yeah.
I need to have another hangout with Mark, because the last one I had was pretty fun.
Yeah.
The last time Mark and I had gone and seen, we've only hung out like twice, actually, one-on-one like that. The first time we went and saw a movie, it was Sober January for me, and it was kind of lame. And then the next time we hung out, we went and saw another movie, like Marvel movies or something, whatever that was coming out. And then afterwards, we went to a drag bingo, just him and I, and we both ended up making out with the drag queen. And
literally.
And it was I was proper drunk that night, and we were all so hungover the next day. And then we actually kept in touch with the drag queen, and she's met the whole polycule and almost gotten invited to the baby shower. Like, that was an epic hangout. Like, I need to hang out with Mark more.
And now there's a new triad blossoming.
Imagine.
Well said.
Yeah, right?
That would be an amazing triad.
Oh man, that would be an amazing triad. And I love that there is communication all around. You know, like it sounds, you know, certain people are closer than other people, as that's natural, but that you all have, you know, there's a mutual respect and communication among each other when there needs to be or wants to be. And I think that is powerful for sure. I feel like we could ask questions all night, but I'm conscious of the time as well.
Well, for sure. I mean, is there something we haven't?
Yeah.
I mean, we're new to the the triad surrounded by a quad surrounded by a sixsome and a baby. So like, are there things that we've like missed? Like this is easily the most complicated dynamic we've
which network wants to pick us up on a TV show, because we were like, this would be an entertaining reality TV show. Holy shit.
But if you think about it, this is how families actually operate. They're all these same complexities, same shapes, same structures. It's just they have different labels. So we all know how to do this. We all know how to live together and get along and be good people to each other and love each other, because this is how communities work and villages and families. But it's taken a while to cultivate that with romantic partners, and I hope it can last, because it's pretty special.
We talk about it as it's like we use the word chosen family a lot, and like Mel is definitely part of our family, and like our other partners are very much there as well. And I think like what you said about it being like it sounds crazy and it sounds complicated, but it also feels natural, in some ways. Like, okay, like it feels like foreign but also familiar. I don't know, it's really not that hard. The hard part is like the feelings and the intimacy, but like that's like the best part, so
I feel like on our first round of the podcast, you never would have said like, it's really easy.
Yeah.
No, it's really, 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 really hard. But like, once you get it dialed in, it feels amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a long game.
Maybe it's like maybe the benefits, the good things kind of outweigh the challenges.
Yeah. And that's what we're trying to like really like hope David comes around to. It's just like, cause like he is like this big cuddly, like, loves everyone, has super close friends, close with his family. Like you can tell that he's got a lot of love in his heart, and he's like this super open-minded guy in many aspects in his life. I'm just like, I can just see it. I can just see the potential in there for him to blossom and heal those wounds, and, open his mind and boundaries. And I don't know. I hope he gets there. I know he's working towards it.
He is working hard.
I am. I know he is. I believe you, rather.
I was going to say, because I know you're going to ask, like, what's something that you haven't asked that you want us to talk about or something. I was just going to say that Rah and I last night got invited to an all-women orgy this Friday, and we are going.
And now we can't listen to this podcast. All right.
I couldn't let you guys say it.
I mean, we did have that last.
We talked about bad things last time. Too.
Our last
bad things
we did.
What was that?
Remember the we talked about the strap-on, right?
Yeah.
Did we?
Yes, the one where you laughed and it popped. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that just.
Well, now it begs the question: Did family listen to the last one?
Not mine.
Some of them, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jen did. My parents did.
Your parents did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I loved our last one.
Well, yeah.
and that's amazing that like, and all of this, like you're carving out time for all of the relationships and able to do that as best you can. Ensure like it's unbalanced sometimes, and then you try to bring it back into balance. And the example of going to the all women orgy this weekend is just like an example of that, nourishing that relationship. So,
that's a first, awesome. By the way. This isn't like something that we do a lot. Like,
even if it was something we did a lot, it'd still be cool.
Of course. So like the open community isn't like huge anywhere, I think. I mean, like, I think it's still like whatever, but we've gotten plugged in and met some really cool people that are in different sorts of stages of non-monogamy, whether it's polyamory or monogamous or ENM or whatever, or swingers or whatever. Like, we've met people through field and friends of friends and stuff like that. And we all were at a concert last night. It was really just like a small polycule hangout minus Michelle. last night, and then we ran into these 4 other people who we've all hung out many times other than that before, and we were like, holy shit. And then it just got brought up that this was happening on Friday, and I was like, you should invite those too. And then they did, and they were like, yeah, we'll go. So this is like totally random last minute thing, but I'm super excited for them.
Yeah.
Love it.
Are you listening to me? I don't know.
And that's why you had plans this weekend, right?
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
So, you can come hang out, but I'm going to be a little busy. Jeez. Yeah, I love it. This has been a really fun conversation. It didn't really follow any path. I think it
doesn't need to.
Yeah, it's just amazing to talk openly about this stuff and hear how you live life, because as you said, Rah, like, this is what people do. This is how it works. Is the structure exactly this? Are you maybe in love with all of the people in the village? Maybe not, but like, you can be. And you're proving that. And I think that's the shame, is that we don't have very many models of this is how this can work. There's not a whole lot of parenting books out there that's like, this is how to raise your child in a 6-person polycule. Like, you don't have that book. And so you're just like, wow, we're just going to like trust our ethics and our intuition and our own morals. And then we're just going to fuck it up a whole lot and just keep trying to be the best we can. And I think,
but that's what every human does. Don't we all try to live every day the best we can and like fuck it up along the way?
Effort and problem solving and good and best intentions and all that stuff. Yeah.
And I feel like people who try to raise a kid, just the 2 of them, like, have a hell of a time too. Like, it's not easy no matter how you do it. So I don't know. I feel like the more help and humans you can get in the mix, why not?
Yeah.
And I think the last thing I'll add is I didn't want to hide, especially knowing family and people were going to get closer to us. I wanted them to know all these amazing partners and people and our support system, and show them that like they're just as worthy of being considered in-laws as you guys are, whether or not you want to. And we had like I felt this incredible moment at the baby shower when we had all the family together and all the partners together, and everybody's just hanging out. And it was totally normal. It was totally fine. Awesome, in fact. And it was great to have the whole community together and around, and nothing was secret. Nothing was hidden. Everybody knew exactly who everybody was, and everybody was fine with it. And I was just like, wish the world could work that way everywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I don't want to, like, if we were trying to wrap up, but a couple of people, it's like a semi-partner for Rah, like on again, off again. John was there with Katie. Katie was actually at the concert last night with her other partner. Anyway, but John and Katie were there, and they were both like, they left, and I guess both of them kind of like had a big check-in and cried, and like we're like, holy shit, like these people, like they in their wildest dreams never thought that like they would be, because they're both non-monogamous and poly, and to see like all of us together, the polycule, but also the family and stuff like that, because they aren't open with their family, and they had like a big check-in, and then they both came out to their families afterwards. Like it was like, and they both of them told us, like Katie told me, and I think John told Rah, like, like that whole day, and that was like inspiring, and inspired us to come out to our family and be honest with who we were and have been for years. Like they had been poly for years and never told their family. It was a complete secret, and then they're like, screw it.
Wow.
Yeah, and a number of the kids in my extended family, teenagers, ages like 12 and 14, 15, are, gay, queer, omnisexual, have totally different non-binary labels, you name it. And hearing afterwards that them getting to be around us and all of our fluidity and all of our openness was really helpful for them, getting to see actual examples of people living everyday lives, but non-traditionally, versus just hearing about it or seeing about it in pop culture, was pretty impactful for them. And I just hope as like teenagers, we can lead by example for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. For sure. That's really amazing.
I think they're normalizing non-monogamy.
Right? I know.
Changing the world.
I know. Yes.
Wow. Thank you all. I mean, I want to say like for the work you do, and I know you don't technically have platforms or anything, but you are out there like throwing baby showers for your extended families to see and to not hide. It wasn't like, oh, this is Rah's friend Mark over here in the corner. Like, this is Mark, my partner. We've been together 2 years, and like, you don't have to hide it. Like, that's how we move forward with people. Like, maybe it's not for them, but at least they can look at it and say, oh, I've seen that, and look at how happy and amazing they are. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to do a reality TV show, but I mean, we do have an Instagram account. That's right.
Which is linked in the show notes.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Rah, do you ever get out sailing anymore? Because I feel like I don't know when you would ever go sailing.
Yeah, only one time. No, next year, hopefully.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
You're gonna have to get a bigger boat.
Some minor life changes this year. So.
Minor.
Yeah. I love it. Well, that was going to be a question about how you all find time for yourselves, but maybe that'll be on the next episode because we're running out of time for all of us. As well, so.
Could you imagine having the polycule on the podcast?
Imagine.
It would be all of us talking over each other constantly.
Yeah.
Oof.
We would have to take turns. You would have to call us out or raise your hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be a 45-hour roundtable discussion.
Right. We would need to do it on Zoom where you can like raise your hand and like we can call on people.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll do it. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, all three of you. Plus, I mean, a huge thank you to David, Mark, and Michelle, and everybody else for for giving their consent to talk about these things and for showing up and being a part of this. Like, this dynamic is so much bigger than the three of you at this point, and you're sort of the spokespeople for it. So thank you to everybody involved for being awesome.
Yeah. And have a wonderful rest of your night until next time.
Yeah, I do want to thank you guys for having this platform, and I think we learned so much from you guys. We definitely used your platform as like a resource for trying to help us figure out the things that we didn't know.
Still do.
And I feel like a lot of what we learned from hearing your conversations, like we applied, and so like, I think you guys are doing a great job. And so we're happy to be able
episode 200 and what?
Be able to be part of it.
We don't know yet. It's going to be 270-ish. 270 something. And we'll bring you back for 415 roughly. every 145.
All the individual little dyads.
That's right.
Speaking of which, if any of them want to come on, they're always welcome.
That's right. That is right. Well, thank you, Tom, and all three of you. And we're happy to take credit for all of your success, but none of your struggles. So.
That sounds like a cheers toast.
Well said.
Yeah.
That's right. Awesome. Well, take care. Have a great night. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Guys. Thanks.
Good night.
And we're back. Oh, wow. We didn't nail that.
Well, I was mocking us from the intro. Let's try again.
Yeah, because after listening to the episode, they remember the intro, I'm sure. You never know. That was an epic episode. So
it was, and an epic intro.
Okay, so we're trying again. And we're back. You changed it on me.
Well, we already did the other one.
Anyway, all of that. Okay, we just wanted to say thank you to Mel Rah and Tom. You are amazing, amazing humans, and we had so much fun with this conversation and are so excited to get this update out there. So thank you.
Yes, thank you all. We're super stoked, and we can't wait to wait. Well, we don't want to wait another 200 episodes.
No.
So we're not going to do that. You might have got a little teaser that there was some offers for different combinations of people from the polycule to come on.
Yes.
So we're going to make that happen for you as an early holiday gift.
Right, but we don't have those episodes ready yet.
Right. So it'll actually be delivered late.
I was like,
But
the gift is happening, or the promise of the gift is happening today, but then the actual gift is going to be after the holidays.
The actual gift is the promise.
I see. Got it. Okay, now we've officially confused people, so.
No one's confused. No one's listening.
You never know. Anyway, a quick reminder, we do have a virtual meet and greet tonight. That's November 30th, 2022. And we have another one coming up at the end of December. For anyone who wants to join, we'd love to have you. So I think that's it. Next week, we've got another interview.
Next week, we have a hilarious interview.
A hilarious one, yes. Oh my gosh. The stories. Okay, just going to say this. I edited it today. Uh-huh.
Hands down, some of the best bloopers.
Yes.
Like in a string of them.
Yes.
That are just amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking hilarious.
So next week we're talking to Eve, coming to you all the way from the UK. We're super excited, and we will see you all then.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.